it's funny because lots of Habeshas are just like miskin. Like, if someone asks for help, go up and help them immediately. We grew up just tailoring to other people. We grew up trying to be there for other people to the point where we forgot to think for ourselves. A lot of people talk about boundaries like there's something simple. Just say no, communicate clearly, protect your time. But in most Habesha households, it was never that simple. Because many of us were raised with values like respect your elders, be loyal to your family, sacrifice for others, and community over individuality. Those values are beautiful in many ways, don't get me wrong, but sometimes they can make it difficult to be there for ourselves. Ask ourselves, like, when the responsibilities end, like, where do they end and where do I begin? Where does my personal space begin? And that's where the boundaries become complicated for us. Like, it's to the point where saying no just feels disrespectful in Habesha households. Like, many Habesha people struggle with boundaries. We struggle with boundaries. And disagreeing just feels uncomfortable. It feels selfish. Even when something genuinely affects your well-being, sometimes saying no feels selfish. This happened a lot to me recently. There's so many things I had to say no to recently. And I've never felt so ungrateful in my life. I just felt ungrateful that I had to say no, that I wasn't there for them. Obviously, like, I'm not even gonna go to the story where, like, our parents sacrificed a lot for us. You know, they left family members behind. They're doing everything for us. And naturally, when you say no to them, you feel ungrateful. You start feeling like, I shouldn't complain. I should be grateful. Or I should just handle it. Or I should make things harder for my parents. That's one big thing. One thing I notice about, like, the Habesha community is that we blur the lines between support and personal space. Like, oh my gosh, I even wrote this down. People feeling obligated to attend every family event. Oh my goodness. I feel this a lot. Sometimes I feel so obligated. I have to go. Like, I just can't say no. Saying no just feels wrong. It's just disrespectful. It's being ungrateful to the family. And it's like, it's to the point where I can't even, like, I feel pressure sharing my personal decisions, for having a personal feeling for not wanting to go somewhere. And, like, when I notice somebody saying, oh, I just don't want to go, I'm like, dang, like, that's messed up. But really, it isn't. You're just not in the mood to go. Like, you want to focus on something else, or you want to do something else. If it's to the point where if I have something else to do and I say no to that event, I still feel selfish. And I don't even understand it. Like, I honestly don't get why, like, where that fully comes from. And another thing is, like, your relatives are very involved in your personal life choices, whether you like it or not. And because community involvement is very, very normal, it's very normalized, saying I need space feels difficult to say. Saying I need time for myself feels difficult to say. Saying I want to make this decision independently feels difficult to say. And boundaries were, like, rarely modeled growing up. I think in many households, family members share responsibilities. We help without question. And we were available when needed. We try to be available when needed. I rarely see people in our community say, I can't do this right now. I need to focus on this. Or, like, I need some time alone. Or, this is making me uncomfortable. Let's stop. Like, stuff like that. And the sad thing is, we reach adulthood not knowing what boundaries look like and how to communicate them and how to fully be unapologetically ourselves and how to maintain our boundaries overall. It's to the point where, like, saying no to people feels like I'm rejecting them. Feels like I just don't love them. It feels like it just equates to that. This is also tied to, like, whenever we want to support our family back home and sending money, like, we feel like we're obviously obligated to do that, but we feel like that's, like, even saying you can't support right now, like, that, we feel like that's not even an option. And I've seen it firsthand. And I feel like over time that can create burnout, resentment, or emotional exhaustion. The crazy thing is like, Habeshas in their 20s and 30s start seeing this in their relationship life, which starts getting crazy. It starts manifesting in their relationships. It starts manifesting in where their goals conflict with their family's goals. For me, like, my perspective, I feel like boundaries is just clarity. Like, I fell into a season where sometimes I can still fall back into it, but the blurry lines, I fell into the blurry lines. I never gave clarity. I never gave boundaries. I never gave clear instructions on how to be treated or how I should treat other people or how I should go about things in life. Nothing was fully clear. There were so many gray lines. And because there were so many gray lines, I didn't know how to act when I was being treated a certain way. Or I didn't know how to expect other people to act when I'm treating a certain way. Everything was so blurry. And because I never created boundaries, I confused myself so much. And I wasn't honest with my limits. I was never honest with my limits. Communicating your needs clearly is not a selfish thing. And boundaries is something that can actually bring your relationship closer to one another. It's funny because lots of Habeshas are just miskin. They just don't want to, if someone asks for help, go up and help them immediately. Someone, if we have a guest over, obviously tailor to your guest, but it's we grew up just tailoring to other people. We grew up trying to be there for other people to the point where we forgot to think for ourselves. And I'm the youngest child. So I think it became just that much more easier for me to think for myself. But I've noticed as the ages go up, or as the closer it gets to the firstborn child, the less, the harder it is to think for yourself in a way. Y'all let me know if this is a correlation. I'm not entirely sure. Correct me if I'm wrong. But I noticed that the closer the child is to the firstborn, the harder it is for them to have boundaries. Y'all ever experienced that? I feel like the youngest child tends to be the best with boundaries. I don't know. It's one thing I'm noticing. Closer to the firstborn, it's also they have the most trouble with thinking for themselves and thinking for their own personal goals, and they're prioritizing their families, which is kind of which makes the most sense. They're the firstborn. They have to take care of everybody else. So they kind of put their own personal goals aside to tailor to their family, to take care of them. So it makes sense. Whenever I see somebody just not wanting to do something because they weren't in the mood, going to a family event or just not wanting someone to come over, I just get questioned. I'm just so curious how they can feel that way. And then I realized oh wait, I grew up always tailoring to everybody, always saying yes to everybody, never saying no, never being clear about what I personally wanted. Now in my adulthood, I forget what I want. What do I want? I'm so used to tailoring to everybody else that I forgot who I am and what I want as a person. I only know who I am as a side character to that person's life. And I think we need to step out of that mindset and step into who we are right now. Who are you right now? What do you want? What do you need? What don't you need? What don't you want? And I think those lines are blurred in the Habesha community, or at least with me. This past year, it's just getting better. But I lived in the blurry lines. I wasn't clear with what I wanted. Or maybe I could have just been a lot more clear. I'm starting to realize that emotional health requires space for individuality. Emotional health requires space for individuality. You need to create that space for yourself. You need to protect your peace. Protect your peace like it's the last thing you have. Protect your peace. Do not let anybody disturb that. Don't let anybody take your peace away from you. The second somebody ripples your peace, they change the vibration, they change the levels, everything. Cut them off. Distance yourself. Never let anybody take away your peace. Your peace is precious. Your value is precious. Your time is precious. Your energy is precious. Never let anybody take that time away from you unless it's deserved. You know? Or earned, or they're at a specific they're in a specific category of your life that you value. Or if it's just someone that means a lot to you. Before, when I didn't even understand this topic, one thing I realized, so one day someone told me that they needed space. They needed time to just think things through for themselves. And I felt rejected in a way. I felt like a bad friend. I felt like, wow, like this person doesn't want to open up to me as a friend. Like I feel like I failed as a person. But really they were giving me boundaries. They needed that time and space for them to be themselves, for them to fully heal and come back as a better person. But because I was so close-minded and I wasn't being aware, it was to the point where I didn't even, like, I was rejected. I felt rejected. And I felt rejected because I always saw boundaries as something that just meant that you don't love me. Boundaries is something that just isn't love. Why did I view it like that? I don't know. And I think we all grew up in a way where boundaries isn't even an option. Saying no to somebody isn't even an option. Saying I need time for myself isn't even an option. Being there for everybody, tailoring to everybody, being that first line of support, tier 1, is a necessity. It's the first thing you need to do. And we forget about ourselves. We forget about what we want. I forgot about what I want. I forgot about what I wanted. I think I reached the point of life where I forgot about what I wanted. Because I was so fixated on what everyone else wanted. I became the people pleaser. I became the person that only felt valued once he was taking care of other people. Not when he was taking care of himself. Because we never saw that value growing up. I think the thing that hinders a lot of growth in the Habesha community is that we don't allow questions. We don't allow someone to freely think. If they ask a question, that it's either offending an elder or it's offending a topic. And because of those two, we're conditioned to fully not be curious about things. Because we shut it down so quickly growing up. If a kid steps into church and he asks a question about why do we do this, or who does this, or why is this on the wall, or is there a reason why we're doing this many times, and instead of like sitting down and like telling him why we do the things and doing this and doing that, we view it as like, wow, like you don't believe, or wow, like why are you being disrespectful, like we're at a church, or why are you trying to ask so many questions, like, oh, what are you trying to get out of this type of thing. Like we wouldn't really sit down with them and speak them through the issue. Now, I fully believe that being curious is what's going to take you far in any realm, in any aspect. You need to be curious to get knowledge. And in order to get knowledge, you need curiosity. Those two go hand in hand. It's a 6-7. Even when you're simply just expressing your needs, even when you're curious about why we do the things we do, or why someone is acting a certain way, or where did something come from, like, it's seen as disrespect. It's conditioned as disrespect. When really we're just curious. And you'd be surprised how many people that were once curious are now far away from that subject of curiosity, of like whatever they wanted to learn, because they were shut down and conditioned that it wasn't right to ask about that. So they put their energy into something else that they can freely think about. And it leads to us feeling guilt about choosing happiness. Sometimes I feel guilty for being happy. Sometimes being happy feels selfish. Because it means I'm not choosing somebody else. It means I'm not being there for somebody else. Why was there this like lack of self-worth or self-value that was inhibited? I'm speaking for what I've noticed in my community and the people around me, and a little bit through me and people I personally know. So anyways, as I'm winding down, my question to you guys is, do you ever feel guilty for prioritizing your own needs? Have you ever felt like your life decisions affected your family's happiness? Your life decisions affecting your family's happiness. And what lessons about boundaries do you think the next generation will learn differently? I feel like there's a lot that the next generation is going to learn differently about boundaries. I'm so curious how this new generation is going to be as parents. I'm not going to lie to you. Like, I always feel like we'd probably be good, but at the same time, that's exactly what the previous generations thought, and then the generations before them thought. So I'm sure there's always going to be something about us that's just washed or cooked. So yeah, anyways, this topic was just about the guilt that we feel about boundaries and just how we struggle with them a lot as Habesha people. It's funny because this is something that comes easy to most people, having that boundary. Simply saying no. And that's something I had to learn the hard way. Telling people no, making people feel disappointed at first, getting that friction, people seeing you as fake because you just don't want to do something. You're not in the mood to do something, or that thing just doesn't serve you as a person. It doesn't serve your values as a person. And you're going to get a disconnect. You're going to get a shift you're going to start getting hate from people surprised about the boundaries you first put up. That's proof that it's working. That's proof that it's affecting somebody. And it's proof that it's your boundary, that it's unique to you. And if that means you're protecting your peace, you're protecting your goals, you're protecting your values, you're protecting who you are, and it disappoints somebody in the process, it doesn't matter. Because your peace is the most important thing right now. Obviously with lines and levels to it. Be there for people. Step up. Take care of other people. That's your responsibility as a human being. We need to be there for other people. Don't be selfish all the time. Don't be like, oh, if I'm not in the mood, I'm just not going to go. Or like, if I really don't want to do it, I'm just not going to. No, like, lock in. Be there for other people. Be selfless. It's good to be selfless. But remember that, like, if I was going to make a whole little example about spilling water, but there's water in here. But hold up. If you can't pour, whatever I'm saying, you can't pour water out of an empty cup is what I'm saying. So that's one thing I've been doing a lot lately. Just saying no to a lot of people. And I've noticed a lot of friction. You're going to make people mad from saying no to things. It's going to ruffle a couple of feathers. That's a word. Over time, eventually, you'll feel that peace within you. It's going to feel weird when you start telling people no, but you will eventually feel that peace within you. And I'm just starting to feel it. And I have a lot more to go. I have a lot more to learn. I have a lot more to see. But I'm just seeing what people are talking about now. Anyways, that was a topic. Just the Habesha community and boundaries and why we struggle with this sometimes. Because I've seen it a lot in my community. I've seen it a lot sometimes in my personal life. And I become a lot better with it, and I'm learning to protect my peace. I'm learning to keep people at an arm's distance for the sake of keeping a smile on my face, but at the same time, being there for other people, being selfless, being a servant for other people. I think there's nothing wrong with that. I feel like that's a really good thing. Be a servant to other people when you can. Wash other people's feet, in the Christian metaphor. Like be there for other people. Be there for other people. Drop your ego. Be that servant for them. That's what we're here as human beings to do. Be that servant for people. That's what we're here to do. We're here to help each other. We're here to learn with each other. We're here to grow. But at the same time, you have to remember who you are as a person, what you can and cannot do, and be realistic. Anyways, that was the topic. Another recording in my room. Y'all rock with the Adidas. Kind of like this jacket. It's kind of nice. Kind of like it. Anyways, let me know about the questions that I asked you guys. Answer them down below. I'll definitely respond. Curious what you guys have to say about that. Do you guys ever experience stuff like this? Boundaries in a Habesha household, and it manifests into your 20s and 30s. But yeah, if you guys liked solo episodes like this, let me know. I'll definitely do more of it. And yeah, thank you guys for watching the Brief Dive Podcast. I'm gonna catch y'all. Peace.